The recent labor unrest whilst we were on break shows a clear public discontent. Over 200 junior doctors have worked for 10 months without pay, and more than 800 remain unposted. Newly trained teachers and nurses have also gone months without salaries. These are the stories of hardship people face. A government that fails to pay its frontline workers cannot claim to care for its people. They paint a troubling picture of a shrinking civic space in our democracy. Even more disturbing, young Ghanaians expressing frustration on social media have been targeted, questioned, and in some cases detained. The question we ask as a minority is this the reset we were promised, or an era of regression into intolerance?
The troublemaker Afenyo Markin yete ne kan parliament house ache na ene odi nsem bia betudwa wo se wonte ase se Chief Justice former Chief Justice ye ni Fred Fufraba abra bepem na John Dramani Mahama ene ni ministers na amekira de property a ogina so e de pam no afi so ohwe nurses na omo ye campaign ana so be demonstration say eye John Dramani Mahama bepem na obetena akonya so ontwe omo ka na omo de afupan e na e sha ben de omo nti ase no kokasa ya ene so ye di ebi makwa akogina bi a omo yi omo nsema no eno na Afenyo Markin say want na omo saade we enkoso wo man Ghana enti parliament house wakasa ye pa adidi atem akasa kasa twitwi bie a kire eye NDC ministers ni na Afenyo Markin nsem no ye monram parliament house ni enti bi emra.
We have today also welcomed 2 new members of parliament, a member for Akwitia and Tamale Central. Their arrival is a solemn reminder of both the grief we share and the hope we carry for renewed service. Mr. Speaker, the state of our nation's governance presents a mix of trials and opportunities, from economic hardship on the home front to unsettling development on the international stage. These past months have indeed tested our resilience as a country. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians remain concerned about the economy. While recent indicators show modest macroeconomic gains, these are yet to bring real relief to the ordinary citizen. The truth is, stabilization means little if the youth remain unemployed and families still struggle with the cost of living. The mass dismissals across key state institutions represent a direct assault on the integrity of public service. Competent officers who were employed have been sacked from office under directives from the Chief of Staff. These dismissals were carried out without due process, without cause, and in clear violation of constitutional and statutory provisions. These are politically motivated acts that undermine professionalism, weaken state institutions, and erode public confidence in governance. The recent labor unrest whilst we were on break shows a clear public discontent. Over 200 junior doctors have worked for 10 months without pay, and more than 800 remain unposted. Newly trained teachers and nurses have also gone months without salaries. These are the stories of hardship people face. A government that fails to pay its frontline workers cannot claim to care for its people. Mr. Speaker, it must be emphasized that the MPP government, whilst in office, initiated the 1D1F. This was conceived as a vehicle to drive industrial growth and create sustainable jobs through private sector participation. However, government actions in recent months show a clear lack of commitment to that vision. Instead of providing real support to existing private sector jobs and easing the cost of doing business, bureaucracies are being created, frustrating investors and entrepreneurs. This stifles innovation, discourages productivity, and risks choking the public sector with inefficiencies that private sector was meant to relieve. But, Mr. Speaker, no economy can grow when private sector initiative is replaced with political control. The time has come for government to walk the talk of ensuring that the private sector becomes the real engine of growth. Enough of the rhetorics. The 24-hour economy must not be an empty talk. It must provide a hope for many youths who expect jobs. Mr. Speaker, on the governance front, governance is about upholding freedom, justice, and the rule of law. The frequent arrests of opposition figures, journalists, and ordinary citizens on flimsy and politically motivated charges exemplify a pattern of harassment intended to silence dissent. They paint a troubling picture of a shrinking civic space in our democracy. Even more disturbing, young Ghanaians expressing frustration on social media have been targeted, questioned, and in some cases detained. The question we ask as a minority is this the reset we were promised or an era of regression into intolerance? Mr. Speaker, the case of David Afenyo, a young man known on social media as Kwame Nkrumah #2, highlights the disturbing double standards in how justice is applied. After a live stream on social media, he was swiftly arrested, prosecuted, and sentenced to 7 months in prison. Much as the law must be applied, we must ask, is the state equally swift when government-affiliated individuals commit similar or worse infractions? Not long before this incident, during the Akwetia by-election, the NDC National Vice Chairman, Sofo Azoka, openly declared that there will be by-election in my constituency. That was a threat, plain and simple. Unlike in the case of Kwame Nkrumah II, the police have not taken action. Mr. Speaker, why is there no urgency on this matter? Why the speed in one case and silence in another? Justice must be seen to be done. Justice cannot be harsh on critics and lenient on those who are closer to power. The broader context deepens our concern. Mr. Speaker, on the 8th of September, the Bono Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Kwame Abronye, popularly known as Abronye DC, was arrested and detained on charges that appear politically motivated. The court ruling in this case raises deeper constitutional questions. In delivering judgment, the presiding judge, His Lordship Akwa, cited George Orwell's Animal Farm, observing that, quote, all men are equal, but some are more equal than others, unquote, and went on to quote the late President Robert Mugabe, purportedly, quote, I can assure you of freedom of speech, but cannot assure you of freedom after speech, end quote. Mr. Speaker, these remarks to us as the minority, coming from the bench, convey an unsettling message that equality before the law and freedom of expression may no longer be treated as fundamental rights, but as privileges subject to interpretation and power. Such reasoning, if left unchecked, sets a worrying precedent for democratic governance and judicial independence. The use of Orwell and supposed quote from Mugabe to rationalize the restriction of free speech undermines the spirit of our Constitution, which guarantees every citizen the right to express opinion without fear of reprisal. Ghana's courts have long stood as the last line of defense for liberty, and any departure from that role risks eroding public confidence in justice itself. The minority, therefore, finds this trend dangerous and calls for restraint, reflection, and a renewed commitment.
Afenyo Markin sɛm na akotie bi aba no amra wɔse wɔnte ase ɛbɛpem ne ministers a wo san gu parliament kra no ene ma wo ye ne nsem pata wo betena ho aye ndc fo no omo nka nsem papa bia na afi so eye nurses akatwi a wo masen atum omo de akoto ba bia wo peso betwi omo ka so okasa fa ho no ebi ne ekotie ba ye no aha eye good news tv di etu said makoso aka kire mu da no mo subscribe to our channel na munya mo comment said e ba anu ye bi ese pata bia ye ba besum nyina edina ene kalala makra mu nyina